Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. I thought we would have a chat about the Chieftain 900. I ended up grinding it out pretty quickly, and also spading it pretty quickly too. Everything went really well with it, surprisingly. Usually, around this BR for Britain, I have a bit of an issue in terms of win rate. Don't really win a ton of battles, I usually end up in around about the 30 or 40% mark, but with this Chieftain 900, everything kind of changed, and maybe that's a sign of the matchmaker being a little bit different and being a little bit more, I don't know, balanced or not as hectic because of some of the BR changes that they've made more recently. So the Chieftain 900, what is it? Well, this is a Chieftain Mark V where they've boosted its engine. And this pretty much means that the vehicle is a little bit quicker around the place. It has a 900 horsepower engine, specifically 912 horsepower when fully spaded, and it also has a new transmission, which means that its acceleration is slightly quicker forward and slightly quicker backwards. And this actually helps quite a lot for the vehicle. It makes a huge difference to it, and also at the same time, by increasing its speed, it also, over the Mark V, gets a better round. You get access to the L23 shot, which is the standard shot that the Mark X has. So the 900 basically sits at 9.0 alongside the Chieftain Mark X. So with the Mark X, you get the Stillbrew armor on the turret, making it a little bit more tanky against certain rounds, but most of the meta rounds that you run into will just run straight through you, and then the 900 has a better engine and better mobility. So you have kind of an interesting, you have a kind of interesting setup. Do you either pick armor or do you pick mobility? Now for me, I always pick mobility. I think mobility means that you can do a lot more stuff in the game, and it just makes it a little bit easier to play, but it's still interesting to see how all of this stuff is kind of set up. Now, on the Chieftain 900, that mobility doesn't really come into being a factor until you get a lot of the mobility mods, though. The key modifications for this vehicle are all rank 3 and rank 4, but what is actually kind of nice about the vehicle is the amount of modifications that are each of the BRs mean that you don't have to go through a crazy amount of modification RP before getting to rank 3 and 4, and once you get there, it's not too bad. The cost of the rank 4 modifications on this vehicle are actually the same as the rank 1 ones, but with rank 1, you just have to get the parts to be able to bypass it, and then you can get the FPE at rank 2, and then the adjustment of fire, because this 120mm sometimes has an issue with accuracy. Not really anymore though, it's more of an old thing, so I just go for the adjustment of fire because of that. And then rank 3 you unlock the L23, which is the APFSDS. Now this APFSDS, it isn't as good as some of the other APFSDSs you'll find around these BRs. When you have a look at, let's say, Germany, for example, you get the DM33, which has 243mm of penetration at 60 degrees, whereas the British round only pans about 190, which is much similar to DM23, which is also a round that you'll find at this BR. But the Chieftain 900's L23 is completely fine at penning pretty much everything you run into. The only issue you're going to run into is stuff like T-72s or some Soviet vehicles where you'll have to aim. Everything else around this BR is way more focused around mobility nowadays, so you get a lot of Leopards, you get a lot of KPZs, you get a lot of MBTs, so penning them isn't the issue, it's more about making sure to shoot where you'll get a kill shot. So for example, on stuff like an MBT-70 and a KPZ-70, you shoot the left side of the turret, because that's where the two crew members are. For something like a Leopard, shooting center mass in the upper glacis, you'll go straight through, and then that will destroy the vehicle, or you shoot bottom right to hit the ammunition that's sat there, and also the ammunition past it. Or if you're at the side of the turret, you just clang the turret since it's a 4-man crew. So all of these vehicles, when you use the round that the Chieftain gets, it's completely fine to be able to go through them. Just be a bit careful when facing some of the more heavily armored Russian ones. But as always with the T-72 and also many others, you aim lower glacis, driver's port, road wheel, and you'll be able to absolutely annihilate them. But I did find with this vehicle, once you get the L23, it just makes it so much nicer to be able to get kills. Using the L15A3 APDS, is just a bit rough, just because of the post-penetration damage not being anywhere near the amount that is nice. Now, one thing about the research of this vehicle which is interesting, and they usually don't do this for new vehicles. They normally wait 1 or 2 updates before doing this, and it was really nice that they didn't for this. So they've actually folded it with the Mark 10. Now, when you folder a vehicle in War Thunder, it halves the total RP cost needed to research it. So what this means is when you research it to buy it, that amount of RP is half. So getting your hands on it is really quick, and I was able to use the BG Hunter, and we ended up grinding it in a few hours, which was really good. But what it doesn't do is it doesn't change the modification cost. So all of your modification RP is the same, and that can kind of catch people out sometimes because of that fact. So just be a bit careful with that. But the fact that they grouped it as it came out, that usually doesn't happen, because what Gaijin wants to do is they want you to fully grind the vehicle, put more time into it to get it, and then folder it later on for maybe people who don't want to go through it as much. So it seems like they saw this as too close to the other Chieftain to be able to split it apart, which generally, you know, as I said, it's actually good because it just made it easier to generally grind. So for me, that was really nice. And to be honest, it was a really simple Chieftain experience. This vehicle, even though it has like the boosted engine, even though it has, you know, some weird factors, like it may look like it has more armor on it just because of its general layout, but its additional armor is only 4mm thick. It's structural steel. It was designed for export, and they were going to add Chobham to it if people actually wanted it, but nobody did. So therefore, it just got this like extra armor layer on it. The extra armor doesn't really do anything. It's just there for show. Maybe it will confuse people when they try and shoot it. I did actually ricochet quite a few shots in the turret on this one, which was quite nice, because you do have some quite extreme angles on the actual angled armor, which could help it out, but generally it's not really going to do too much. So the only thing the armor does is make the Chieftain look different. It doesn't really do anything else. But even though this thing has, you know, a little bit more mobility, it has all of the nice factors of the Mark 10, apart from the little bit of armor on the turret, it basically plays the same. You just get to areas a little bit quicker, and also you get to engage enemies a little bit faster. And this is a huge upgrade because it means that it's easier to peek with the vehicle, hit and then go back, and also at the same time it just makes it easier for you to control what you're doing with it, because everybody else is running around in very rapid vehicles around this BR, and now you have a little bit of a quicker vehicle to be able to try and deal with them. The reload on the gun is slightly worse than most that you'll run into. Even with an ace crew, you're looking at a 7.5 second, which is slower than the Russian MBTs and also slower than stuff like the Leopards and the MBTs and KPZs. Well, definitely the KPZ anyway. But you have good gun depression. The turret rotation isn't the best in this thing, but once again, with that boosted engine, it makes it a lot easier to move the tracks around, and also the vertical guidance is completely fine as well. The collection of factors that this vehicle has works really well together, and the lineup that it has is slowly but surely getting better. And this area has always been a bit of a problem area for Britain. You basically jump from the 8.7 area all the way up to the 10.7 area. But now, at around 9.0, 9.3, you got the two Chieftains, you know, the Mark 10, the 900, you have the ZA35, which is a great AA, you got the Badger, which arguably shouldn't be this BR, you have the Shotcal Dalet, and then also, for the CAS elements, you have some funky options. You have the Wasp, you have the Wessex, which both are not exactly great, but then you also have stuff like the HF-24, the Marut that you can bring in, or even the Buccaneer with its bombs. So the lineup isn't exactly perfect, but it is way better than it used to be, especially when you look over this year. And it's just amazing how many vehicles that Britain has actually got recently. It's been incredibly good for Britain, and it's just really nice to see them get more and more stuff. So the final stats with the Chieftain 900, 39 battles played, 27 wins. 69% win rate. If we compare that to all of my other chieftains, the Chieftain Mark III, 39% win rate over 275 battles. Chieftain Mark V, 51% win rate over 167 battles. Chieftain Mark X, 144 battles, 49% win rate. Chieftain Marksman, 124 battles, 43% win rate. So you can see with the Chieftain 900 in this current matchmaking, a hell of a lot better than many of the other ones. We got 134 ground kills, 31 deaths, showing that we went basically a 4-to-1 KD in it, which is really nice. We also had just one air kill, because this thing does have a top-mounted machine gun, but it's only one of those 7.62s, and I ended up just shooting somebody out of the air with the main gun. I don't think I will ever have a bad time in a Chieftain. The playstyle fits me pretty well, and it's just really nice to finally have one where, because you have a little bit more mobility, you're able to take advantage of that counter-attacks playstyle. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank GMG Smiley, CD Beans, Chieftain Mike, EMN3 Galaxy, Tulio Pontecorvo, Brendan Quinn, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Wartinder, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, B. Young, Ozzy Panzer, Alan Hacker, Liam Shear, Opium Prime, Lafouche, Sem, Aslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R. for supporting the channel.